Hello, and thanks for joining us. I'm here today with Alicia Chrastil from Lincoln, Nebraska. Um, Alicia is a senior home advisor, and I'm really excited to speak with her today. I'm going to let Alicia start off and tell us a little bit about herself because she has such an incredible background, which I believe that all of you will find very helpful in how she can better serve you. Hi, Alicia.
Hi, Karen. How are you?
Good. Thanks so much again for joining me today.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
So why don't you just start off by telling us a little bit about your background because it's really very impressive, and I think people would really enjoy hearing more about it from you versus from me.
Okay, so I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska. I was born and raised here, lived here my whole life in the Lincoln area. And I've done a lot of different things in my life, and I've had a lot of different careers. And I think of all of them, this one is probably the most satisfying for me. And I just feel like finally found out what I was supposed to do when I grew up. But when I started out, I went to nursing school. I was in nursing school for a while and ended up working with elder care and in some senior care communities. And then I decided to go to nursing school. I went to UNL for a little bit before that into human development. Then my sister drugged me to beauty school, and I said, I don't want to do that. Our mom was a hairdresser. I didn't want my house smelling like permanents, but here I was in beauty school. So after I graduated from there, I ran a couple of salons and had my own business and was serving seniors even in the hair salon. So after a few years, I worked for a Gallup organization. I sold real estate. I started selling real estate in 1981, actually, so that I could be home with my kids when they were young. And then after they started getting a little bit older, they were only home evenings and weekends. So I kind of transitioned away from that into other different things. I did some senior in-home care for families and for their parents, and they just kind of became like family. It really wasn't a job at that point. But so I did that. We ran an antique mall for almost 20 years, and that flooded. And when we were running the antique mall, I was having training sessions for dealers there to help them be more profitable in their business and help them get it to the next level. And there's a lot of seniors in that business. And I think probably most of the clients were over 50, and so are most of the dealers. So, and we had them ranging from 50 to 85 years old. So, again, I think I've always kind of been attracted to seniors. My parents died when I was really young, so I kind of try to take care of them how I would take care of my parents if they were still here today and be there for them. So I went back into real estate after our business flooded for the third time. And I said, that's it. I'm not scooping mud anymore. So I just wanted to do a couple transactions a year. I didn't want to get really deep and involved into it. And even told my broker, don't push me here. And now I have my own real estate team, and we're growing, and we serve seniors. And we sell a little bit of real estate, too, along the way. So it's been quite a journey.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what happens when you get involved in the senior piece of it, right? You don't realize how it's going to evolve and then how much of a passion it is and how much it means to you. And I think it's interesting, too, how many people that come out of the nursing field into the real estate field to help seniors. And that's more and more I see that, which I think is amazing, that you have that heart and you really want to, help our seniors and take care of them. So with that, tell me a little bit about Lincoln and why it's a good place for seniors to live.
Well, Lincoln is a great place to live for seniors and for anybody, really. We hear about people all the time that are leaving Lincoln because there's nothing exciting to do here. And then in a few years, they go out and do whatever. But when it's time to raise a family, this is where they want to be because of the way of life here and the way that people are kind and the opportunities here and the budget-friendly lifestyle that you have here. Homes don't cost as much here in the Midwest. You might not get paid as much in the Midwest as you might on one of the coasts, but again, our cost of living are very, very budget-friendly. We have we're home to the University of Nebraska, Lincoln here. And that is a really big draw for a lot of young people and for retirees as well. There's a lot of opportunities for seniorpreneurship in Lincoln. And we have a lot of seniors who are pursuing their second, third career, even after they've retired. There's a lot of things to do. We have a couple hundred miles of just bike trails. So that's something fun that everybody can do. We're also home of the state capitol, and that is one of the architectural wonders of the world. And it's just a beautiful building. But as far as different things for seniors to do here, there's a plethora of things for them to do and different activities that kind of dot the calendar all year long, from jazz festivals to Rib Fest to farmers markets, art walks. There's just tons of things for people to do and opportunities here.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. Now tell me, you had shared a stat with me as well earlier that I think Nebraska was 14th in long-term care in the U.S. Can you expand upon that a little bit?
Yeah, so in Lincoln, Nebraska, I think we were actually the home for the very first heart transplant was here at Bryan Heart Hospital. So we have the Heart Institute here. We have a brand new cancer center that I can't remember how many $1 million this was, but it was all basically built on donations. So we have some of these major medical facilities right here in Lincoln, Nebraska, that people travel all over to come to use. And we have, we're just growing as far as senior living communities and health clinics as well.
Oh, that's great. And then you talked about seniorpreneurs. So tell me some of the fields that you're seeing the seniors go into, or what they're looking to do once they live there.
Lincoln has a lot of opportunities for seniorpreneurs. They don't have to just work at Walmart as a greeter, but they can if they want to. But in Lincoln, I see a lot of people kind of thinking about what it was that they kind of missed when they were pursuing their career. Was it something for art? Was it something for a business? I see a lot of seniors that are doing some coaching in their previous fields.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, so they're coaching young people how to do what they did when they were younger. And, they come alongside them and they have a wealth of knowledge. They just don't want to be the feet on the ground anymore. They would rather encourage and tell people what they know and help them to grow. So we see a lot of that in Lincoln. A lot of people go into different fields and totally different fields. We have a gentleman on our real estate team who was an engineer for a major company here in Lincoln, one of the pharmaceutical companies, and he was a project manager, and he's taken those skills into the real estate field to, just kind of rehone what we do in real estate and give us procedures, which is, in real estate, nothing is ever the same, but he has some great checklists and has some great ideas for even in the real estate field. So we see a lot of people bringing those kind of skills into some other totally different field that they weren't involved in before, but might have been something that they were interested in when they were younger, but didn't have time to do that because they were pursuing their main career. Yeah,
which makes sense, right? So there's a lot going on there in Lincoln, right? So
there is.
I think you mentioned Lincoln's nickname is the Church City.
Yes.
Right. So, so for people that in their faith, I guess there's an abundance of churches and what have you. Okay.
Yeah, there's a wide range of churches and synagogues in Lincoln. You could just find it just about any. There's some streets that are just called Church Row because we just have the churches lined up in a row, kind of on the church. And we have everywhere from small churches to some mega churches here in Lincoln too that broadcast all over the world, and we're home to Back of the Bible.
Oh wow! And then, tell me about this happiest and healthiest.
What was that?
Happiest and healthiest. Tell me more about that.
So because, Lincoln is a really clean city as far as, just being clean. When you walk down the streets, there's not a lot of garbage garbage, but also for air quality. It's very clean environment. And so because of that, I think, and the way of life is just a little bit slower here. And it's a little bit, people can have time to pursue some of the other creative sides and some of their hobbies and their interests. So that's going to make a person happy as well. And, if you're happy, you're healthy. And there's a lot of correlation with health and your mental happiness and your mental state too.
Oh, absolutely. That's what is, tell me, I know in the summertime it gets, like we get here, we get humidity like we get in most places in the US. What is the year-round temperature like how are the winters? Like, what is it like?
Well, we do enjoy the change of seasons here. So, in the summer it can get really hot. On some days it's very humid. But I've been to the coast too on a humid day, and it's nothing like that where your clothes are just dripping wet and you can't wait to get inside. But it can get hot and humid here in the summertime. July and August are always nice warm months. In the wintertime, last couple of years, it's been pretty mild, but we have seen some really crazy storms here. Some in the summertime, sometimes we love the thunderstorms. They're not quite as violent as they are in some places, but there's nothing better than sitting on your porch and just watching a really beautiful thunderstorm roll in. So, I would say we have them all. I think this spring we went right from winter to summer, it seems like. We didn't have a whole lot of spring, but, it is really nice all year long. And you can, have fun with the summer sports and the winter sports. And you can kind of have it all right here.
Yeah,
without too extreme.
Yeah. Now, do you find a lot of seniors, are they snowbirding someplace? Are they there in the winters as well? I know in Massachusetts a lot of people migrate, to Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, but I didn't know if they do that as well in Nebraska or if they usually just stay there.
Yeah, there are some people that go south for the summer or for the winter, I should say, when it gets cold, because sometimes the winters can get really cold. We've been, lucky to have a couple really mild winters lately, but there are a lot of people who just like to do that. And that, they develop friendships and communities down there in Florida or Texas or Arizona, wherever they're going. And they like that too. So, and there's some people that just go down and visit the snowbirds, and get away for a couple of weeks and into some warmer climate. We also have people who, live farther north than we are that come here to snowbird. So it's kind of all relevant as to where you're from and where you're going.
Yeah. Now, Down, tell me, do you find a lot of people, it's so attractive for younger people and for seniors to move to Lincoln? Are you finding it's very important for the seniors to be close to families? Or are you seeing some of your seniors moving out of Lincoln to be closer to families? I know we have that, even our most southern states in Florida where people are moving back to be closer to family. So what do you find in Lincoln?
We find people coming and going for that exact reason, because they want to be close to their family and they don't really care what the weather is like there. But the most important thing for them is to be around their family. I know my daughter just moved to Lexington, North Carolina, and I have 3 right next door. So I'm really torn. I mean, if I didn't have my 3 next door and my only 3 were in Lexington, North Carolina, that's where we would be. So we see people who are coming here because their family's here. I'm working with a client right now who's relocating here to Lincoln to be with their family. And I've worked with clients who were moving to other states to be with their family. So it's, we get one coming and we get one going. So that family connection is really strong. And, people that have their family around, they tend to live a little bit longer because they're happier. So I'm all for wherever they need to be.
Right. Yeah, no, and I agree. I was just curious if you're seeing the same trends that we're seeing throughout the U.S. on that.
Uh-huh.
I assume you probably were, because we're all, at the end of the day, just people that want to be around loved ones and be involved in a community.
Yeah.
What have you. So we talked a little bit about the healthcare system there being, so that's easily accessible to people. It sounds like. the healthcare system's easily accessible to people?
Yes, it is. It's very accessible. And for people who can't drive, there's a lot of different community opportunities to get them to health care. So there's a lot of different things in place. We have our aging partners here in Lincoln, which is a city and county kind of supplemented resource for seniors. And they do all kinds of wonderful things for seniors. And one of those is providing transportation.
Yeah, which is so important because so many of us need transportation
Yeah.
and food services. So I assume you have like food services as well for the people that might be in need of those type of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
well.
there's plenty of that.
Yeah, and are there any tax incentives or anything like that for seniors or no?
Yeah, so we have the homestead exemption here in Lancaster County in Nebraska, and it depends on your income, but you can have some of your, or even all of it, depends on your income of your real estate taxes on your home waived if you're a senior.
Okay, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's so different by state and sometimes by county.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what else haven't we touched upon that we may have missed that you'd like to talk about?
Well, there are some quirky little attractions that a lot of people don't know about Lincoln, Nebraska. Things that, maybe the ordinary person on the street won't know. And I wrote some of these down. The University of Nebraska, of course, we have the Huskers. And so we're the Go Big Red state, right? And the weight room is the largest one in the country. And it's just the weight room is over 3/4 of an acre. So, yeah, so that's a huge weight room. And Lincoln does have a main street that runs through it, and that's called O Street. And O Street stretches for 59 miles, and it makes it the world's longest straight street.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Elephant Hall is here in Lincoln, and that is a museum, and that has different skeletons of all different kinds of animals, and they have the skeleton of the world's largest woolly mammal that was found in Nebraska. And we are also, this is a really interesting fact, we're the home of the National Roller Skating Museum. And Lincoln, when I was young, that was what everybody did. We went roller skating every Tuesday and Friday and Saturday night. Kids were always at this roller skating rink, and we had several of them to choose from. But so then we had the roller skating museum here because of that. And then for a couple of decades, we had no roller skating rinks. So, but we still had the roller skating museum. But now I think we do have one or two coming and a new one coming. So, we're kind of bringing that back. And we do have a great ice skating rink now in Lincoln. And we have the Frank H. Woods Telegraph Museum here, and that has actual replicas of the Alexander Graham Bell's original designs in it. And we have the Sunken Gardens here, which is on a corner in Lincoln, and the garden is actually sunken in, and it offers, it has over 416 different trees and shrubs, and it's just like a little sanctuary in there, and it has fountains and it's just beautiful. One of the things that we're known for is some famous people came from Lincoln, like Johnny Carson and Dick Cavett and Hilary Swank and Sandy Duncan. Gordon McCrae lived here. I remember a friend of mine, she said she pulled up to a store to go in, and she heard somebody that was like, had this beautiful man's voice and was singing, and she looked over there and it was Gordon McCrae, and he was just in his car singing, so that's kind of fun. And we're home to William Jennings Bryan. I live just 2 blocks from William Jennings Bryan home, and his home is called Fairview. And I live in Fairview Acres, so that's kind of interesting. Another thing is Charles Lindbergh actually learned how to fly in Lincoln. And I know people who have friends that were their relatives were friends of Charles Lindbergh. And have you ever had a McRib?
No.
Well, it was created at the University of Nebraska in their food science program.
Okay.
So that's something that we have here. And let's see, if you've ever used an ATM, the very first ATM was used and tested in Lincoln, Nebraska. And you've heard of 911, the emergency system? That was actually developed and first used in Lincoln as well. So, yeah. So there's some interesting facts about Lincoln that a lot of people don't know.
No, absolutely. Yes, that's very, yeah, a lot of things, especially 59 miles. I was just thinking in my head, I was trying to figure out how long it takes to go down that street.
Oh yeah, 59 miles. So it'd take you about an hour, but it goes through Lincoln. So some of it goes into rural areas, and some of it is the main street in Lincoln. And for years, for decades, I mean, even since I was a kid, Lincoln is the hot spot on Friday and Saturday night. You get all those souped up cars driving down there and people sitting there on the side just kind of watching cars go by. And we, get a Miracruise that comes through Lincoln on a regular basis. And when that happens, then, people are they have their lawn chairs lined up, and it's just car after car after car all night long for several hours. And there's about a 2-mile stretch that they drive back and up and down. And that's kind of fun.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can tell you love it there. I think when you love a place where you live, it's easier for you to help people find what they're looking for and what they need in a home.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, which is great. So, Alicia, tell me, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
So if people want to get in touch with me, if they'd like to come to Lincoln and have me show them around, I'd be more than happy to show them around. We have some wonderful restaurants and some really fun places to go to. There's Pioneers Park, which is a park that used to have all kinds of animals in it, even buffalo in there, and it still does have some animals that are there. But if they want to get in touch with me, they can just Google my name. I'm all over the internet, or they can give me, they can email me or contact me. My website is aliciachrastil.com. I'm alicia@nebraskarealty.com. They can, find my phone number, 402-499-8147. If they just want to chat about what Lincoln has to offer, if they're, thinking about coming here, or they just want more information.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that's great, Alicia. I really appreciate your time today. And I hope that some of our seniors and others will tune in and listen to all the great things that you shared with us today regarding Lincoln, Nebraska, and the area.
Sure. Thanks for having me on here today. And, I have Lincoln as my home, and I would love to make it yours too, for whoever would be interested.
All right. Well, thanks again. I appreciate it.
Thank you.